Actually, my career in newborn care starts way back in 1964, when in Stanley Medical College in Chennai, we were introduced to newborn care by our obstetricians. And that time itself, I had developed a special interest in newborn care. Subsequently, I joined as a postgraduate in BJ Medical College, and then I was given the opportunity to have the newborn care rounds, thanks to my professor, Dr. A.B. Desai, who had the vision of developing newborn care as a separate entity. And we started as newborn care rounds. Then we developed a newborn care corner with just Sorrento cots donated from UNICEF. And later on, we had an assembled unit of phototherapy. And of course, we had our special rounds that time. And subsequently, of course, in 1979, with so many efforts, I'm not giving you the details, but we started the first dedicated newborn care unit in Gujarat. Actually, the newborn care services to be started was first time we started in BJ Medical College. And throughout, I have been responsible for that. And so then in 79, we developed the SNCU, and very soon I could get the ventilator care also that. And so we started with CPAP and first ventilator, sick risk ventilator. We got it through the support of Dr. Vidyasagar and all our old students who donated it from USA. And we then built up several instruments, including lamellar flow system and genetic studies and so on. During this pathway of the clinical practice, I immediately realized, at least in our setup, where we do not have ideal facilities of staff and all the equipment available to us at that time, we have to focus more on the preventive aspects also. So we started developing more about the breastfeeding promotion, hand washing, infection prevention measures, and so on. Just to quote a few things, long before any of these government policies came, we stopped neonatal, bath of the newborns in the postnatal wards. Subsequently, we stopped bottle feeding. We started encouraging pure breast milk feeding. We started encouraging colostrum feeding. These are all now accepted norms, but in those days, these were all challenging things. So, starting with these simple but basic interventions, we could get very good results. And that took us to even promotion of the community newborn care. When I am saying promotion of community newborn care, simultaneously we were developing intensive care also. But this was in addition. We thought, at least in our setup, we will not have a full spectrum of newborn care unless we go for the preventive care and whatever promotion we can do for the newborn care in the community also. And one major landmark only I can quote is in way back in 1984, we organized our fifth National Convention of the Newborn Care. That is the NeoCon. We used to call it as annual conventions. At that time, our theme was reach and enrich rural newborns.
Great.
And we encourage our community health workers to demonstrate their potential to increase the newborn care. So this is just the brief I am saying. And then, of course, we had a big pathway. We tried to introduce newborn care as a separate subject through MCI, and then separate thing through the DNB, and so many other efforts, even during my presidency. It's a very huge subject, but briefly I can tell that we had just started newborn care in other medical colleges also. Of course, way back we started in our unit, which I already told you. And one more landmark I must say, that with the help of WHO, we had developed a remodeled curriculum for the pediatric education. And that was way back in 68, 69. and it was formally introduced in 71, 72. And right at that time, for the first time, we had introduced introductory lectures about the newborn in the curriculum of the undergraduates itself. Then,
Oh.
even in the nursing curriculum, also, we had introduced newborn care.
Mhm.
And so, at least in Gujarat, we could promote it in a big way. And in national level, naturally, there were leaders, All India Institute of Medical Sciences, PGI Chandigarh, and then Bombay, and other institutes had a lead. But at that time, Tamil Nadu and we were all going parallel. Only thing is, they have now gone very high. We are still to yet to reach more heights. For many years we wanted to have our journal, but apprehension was expressed by many of our seniors that how can we get peer reviewed articles, how can we get a quality, who will do it, and so many questions. I said, without thinking of all those things, let us make some beginning somewhere. Unless we make a beginning, we are not going to grow. So with that idea, we started with our journal. But in the initial stages, because we did not have all the peer reviewed articles and other requirements, we named it as Bulletin of Newborn Care. And that is time, Dr. Arvind Saili, who was our secretary, he really was a very dynamic person. He took this challenge and he started successfully printing newborn care bulletins. He had an advisory committee, expert group committee, and took each time one theme and produced bulletins. Subsequently, the newborn journal was born from bulletins and formed a newborn care group. And that was also going on for some time.
Madam,
Then we had collaboration
madam,
with IAP, Foxy, and other agencies also. And we tried to develop some of the major programs. And we gave ongoing programs were already there, but a major push to National Neonatal Perinatal Database, then accreditation committee, and also many of the NALS program, the current NRP program, neonatal resuscitation program. In those days, we used to call NALS, that is Neonatal Advanced Life Support Program. So we gave a major push for all these programs. As I said, WHO, UNICEF, they were already having some collaboration with National Neonatology Forum from the day it was born. We only tried to catalyze it further on. The major push was through the government, that is Ministry of Family Welfare, that we introduced this newborn care week, which I mentioned to you. So that was a major collaboration. And following that, they formed a first technical committee for women and children, where they had included me also. And subsequently, NNF officers were automatically included in that. So that was another major achievement with the government. And as I said, newborn care as an independent agenda, when it came, naturally an advisory committee also came up. So many publications started coming up. So that was first thing. Second thing, we developed a collaboration with Medical Council of India also. We requested them to introduce this in the pre-service training program also wherever possible. So that was also accepted. Then ICMR also took up some of the newborn care projects. Again, this was already being done through Dr. Santosh Bhargav, Dr. A.B. Desai, and others as regionalization of perinatal care and other projects. But subsequently, then All India Institute organized one special meeting on research priorities of newborn care in India. Rather than just barely imitating the Western models, we need to develop our own research projects. So that was the agenda, and that was also taken up. And in all these things, we gave a major push. And one more thing, newborn care as a special theme for the training. So I wrote to even DNB, the national board at that time, to introduce newborn care as a separate thing. Though we started the dialogue, but due to some reason, it could not fully materialize during that tenure, subsequently tenure. But at least I have the satisfaction of putting in the seed, and first dialogue with the director there, we started first starting this. Subsequently, of course, DM courses and others developed. Which helped us for these was we used to conduct a lot of national workshops on different relevant themes of the newborn care in our country. And here again, we took the help of UNICEF, WHO, and other agencies from time to time. So during our time, just to say, we had one national workshop on neonatal, perinatal asphyxia, birth asphyxia. That time, NALS course was not introduced in India, long before I'm saying. Then we had one workshop, full workshop on how to introduce mothers in NICUs. Again, it was a new theme at that time. And how to introduce mothers mainly as a supplement to our nurses. Because suppose a baby has got intravenous fluid going on. If the fluid goes out, sometimes nurses do not have the time to see that because they are attending on some other patient. So, individual attention to give, we thought mothers are the best persons, we should admit them. So, it started like a nursing substitute, but subsequently we found introducing mothers helped us in many ways. So that is how we had a national workshop on introducing mothers and family members in NICUs in Chennai. Then we had another major workshop on human resource development for the newborn care in India. That was in India, Ahmedabad. Then traditional practices of newborn care. We introduced that time along with the allopaths, Ayurvedic, naturopathy people, homeopathy people, Siddha, Unani, everybody, and then brought out, and there were some misunderstandings about the Ayurveda, that they are not promoting breastfeeding, they are promoting prelactal feeds and like that. But we brought out with their scientific contents that they have got very good ideas. Only thing, how they are misinterpreted and mispracticed, that was a different aspect. So, like that, we made a lot of efforts to bring them together. And these national workshops, they attracted many people in the newborn care. And that helped us in increasing the membership of the newborn care.
Thank you, madam.
So, every year one national convention was held, and along with that, this national workshop, and they were held up in different regions. Communication strategies of newborn care in Calcutta, then the care of the low birth weight here, then the primary newborn care in Chandigarh, then research priorities in Delhi. Like that, every time a different venue was there. So naturally, that attracted more people, and they realized the significance of newborn care, and naturally, then the membership increased. That was one major thing. And another thing was, in the beginning, newborn care conventions, only one meeting, no concurrent meetings. So there was undivided attention given to these scientific proceedings. That also attracted a lot of things. The quality of newborn care and the quality of meetings, the quality of topics which were taken, how they were handled, and the priorities they were given as per the national needs, all that, I'm sure they attracted a lot of people. There, many of them are there. Right from India, I can say our seniors, Dr. Bhaku, Dr. Santosh Bhargav, Dr. Mehban Singh, Dr. Semini Rani, all these people had helped us to shape our newborn care in our unit. From time to time, we used to have several meetings, and we used to meet also during different meetings, and they helped us. But one important person whom I never forget is Dr. Vidyasagar. He is from University of Illinois, Chicago. He and his teammates, including Dr. Rohit Vasa, Dr. Arvind Shukla, Dr. Vinod Bhutani, and Dhani Reddy, and so many others, full team, they have given us a lot of support in taking our newborn care to higher levels. Because they showed us during our Indo-US faculty exchange program, which was organized by Dr. Vidyasagar, how they are doing it in the advanced countries and what are the possibilities in our own countries. In those days, we did not have internet or other facilities. So we could not see what is happening. Only from the books we used to read, and we always used to feel, oh, they are at some higher level, and some complex was there. But he helped us in breaking that complex. Another thing, he helped us, and that time he hosted us for 1.5 months and showed us the different ways in which they are approaching newborn care. Naturally, everything we cannot imitate, but some of the basic principles we can adapt to our situation. And 19 of us from all over India, we had visited that and host them for 1.5 months and showing them it was a big, challenging task which he had taken with his team members. Second important thing they had done was they brought the NALS program to India. First time, this neonatal advanced life support, which we are now labeling as neonatal resuscitation program, first time in our Mangalore conference they introduced. That time itself, almost 600, 700 pages manual was there, including all the professors. We had to undergo the test. Only if we scored 85 to 90%, we were taken up for the faculty members and then given advanced life. Means what I'm saying is strictly following all the protocols. And they had made us undergo the full course, and then they gave us all the supporting thing, including initially they donated manuals and all this thing. And mind you, there was no special budget allotted for that. Most of these people, they spent their own money and they came to us. They gave the manual and everything, mannequin, manual, everything on their own. Subsequently, that is another achievement I had was they invited me when I was president to their perinatology section in the American Academy of Pediatrics meeting. At that time, I happened to meet many of these people who had formulated this NALS program. I got a special permission for them to use this module in India, use it in the Xerox and other modules without any additional cost. Because in PALS course, they don't allow that. But in our course, we were allowed that. We were given the permission. We were allowed to spread this message everywhere. So that is another thing they gave. And from time to time, whatever advances were made in the neonatal resuscitation, that was also communicated to us. So like that, these people from US group, they helped us a lot. Then some of the UK group also, Dr. Wilkinson and other people, who had come to our conference in 1984. They continued their support, and they also, like that, there were so many who helped us during the. And I must say, three people who were our organizing secretaries during our conference. During my tenure, the conference was, 99 conference was in Vellore, where I took from Dr. Anil Nara. Dr. Chellam was the organizing secretary. Then in 2000, the next conference was in Bangalore, where Dr. Maya was the organizing secretary. And in next conference was in Bombay, that was in 2001, when I handed over my presidency to Dr. A.K. Datta. Dr. Jayashree Monkar was the organizing secretary. All these people, they had accepted our principles to do it in a very simple way, but high quality program, not take much of pharmaceutical thing, and especially follow the code of conduct for the IMS code also. That time it was not very strong, but we had self-formed that, and they all formulated that and helped us in organizing excellent conferences, which gave us a lot of pep for all our programs. So many of these personalities have helped us, and I must say there are so many known and unknown persons who have helped us. I am not able to tell you, but some of them are prominent in their own way. One person I must say, with Dr. Jacob John, I had hosted the I had headed the meeting in Gadchiroli, Abhayban. He was the person who documented and convinced people to accept home-based newborn care. Some of us, we were doing it, like Dr. Jain was doing in her own place, I was doing in my own place, but We had failed in implementing it convincingly. But he was the one who documented it, he continued it, and he brought these organizations together so that the messages can be taken up further. And that is how we take, and Dr. Jacob John and myself combined, we headed that meeting and we saw everything. Of course, I had seen it before also, but that is the time we gave us push, and then naturally it further went to Delhi, and then it had its own good course. So these are all some of the people who made a big mark in us, and some of the voluntary organizations also, I must say, like Seva Rural Jagadia. They accepted our request to introduce community newborn care. We even danced with their TBS, and we even put, and they developed their own innovative methods of disposable delivery kits and safe delivery and training the dais. And from time to time, we were involved with them. So all these are prominent personalities as far as I'm concerned. One most interesting thing was during my tenure itself, there was a formation of newborn chapter of Indian Academy of Pediatrics. That was a very major burning issue at that time. And members were confused whether we should join here or there, or first of all, whether we should allow that group to be formed, and so many confusions are there. We just solved it with a simple, basic approach. Anyone who wants to promote newborn care, we support them. It doesn't matter, it is from the IAP group. We were also from IAP. So these were all the arguments that we are actually, our parent body is Indian Academy of Pediatrics. We came out. My only argument was, we have now grown, we have become adolescents, so we should be given our independence. So that is what we are enjoying. That is why we are not following some of the rules given by the IAP. So we are now adolescents, so we should encourage our siblings. So
Very
that
nice.
is one approach which helped us. It dissolved the controversies. And
Ma'am,
I said, anybody can join anywhere. There is no bar. You can join here also, there only, wherever you want, but promote newborn care. So
that is,
that approach made a very, very simple thing.
ma'am, actually that demonstrates very high leadership qualities.
Yeah.
That's something which is very interesting.
I don't know, but it dissolved the thing.
Yes.
Similarly,
Goal.
even to procuring our separate office, whether it will be cost effective, who will conduct it, who will manage it. There were so many questions. I said, make a beginning, then we will see. And then we pleaded it, got it approved in our general body meeting. That was also a challenge. Similarly, to get even our newborn care week celebrated, I said there were so many challenges. And even getting newborn as an independent agenda also, the meeting was called in 2002, year 2000, during my tenure, when this newborn care week was to be celebrated. It started with this Government of India meeting also, where Foxy, IAP, and all the others were invited. We were also as a president of NNF, I was also there. People were arguing, there is already MCH, mother and child health care. Why do you want separate newborn care? I said, newborn gets diluted. With mother, mother gets the priority. With child, children get the priority. Newborn, nobody talks about. And newborn cannot make its own voice. And so many strong arguments I had to put and advocacy points, to the extent minister called me in his office after this meeting is over, again asked me to give all the justifications, and immediately declared they are introducing that as an independent policy. So these are all some of the interesting and challenging episodes where we have tackled the situation. NNF, as I said, it has been a cumulative effort of all the members right from the beginning. From the day one, all the stalwart seniors, they have been making it to push it through. The government agencies also, through MCA, also through UNICEF and WHO support. And as I said, in I think 1992, first time, newborn care was introduced through CSSM in the child health programs, national child health programs. Dr. Santosh Bhargava was there. Then Dr. Santosh Bhargava and AB Desai, they introduced through ICMR also special projects for the promotion of the newborn care. Only thing is, in my time, I was lucky enough to take it to a much higher scale. That is what I can say. Because during our time, IMCI was being introduced through WHO, and they were narrating that IMCI. And I said in India, and along with, of course, me, Dr. Ramji and many others also joined. But first voice I raised, unless the newborn component, the N component is there, N component, of course, that was a later addition. But I just said newborn component is there. We cannot make a dent in infant mortality in developing countries like ours. Then they found out the way how to introduce that. And then instead of calling it IMCI, IMNCI was called. And we prepared the modules and they gave us challenges also, how it is going to help you and all those things. Of course, we produced the modules, evidences, and everything. So that was another major achievement during our time. And India was the first country to introduce N component in IMCI. And we were the first one to raise that voice. That is also true.
Ma'am, I think in many ways, all these things, rural newborn care by Dr. Abhay Bang, IMNC, this has changed newborn care not only in India, but even across the world, especially in Africa and all. So,
Yeah, that is true. Not only Africa, Southeast Asian countries also, because these are all the things. And we made progress and showed them also the pathway how to go about it. And now also we are making further improvements in that. For example, in home-based newborn care, now we are adding home-based kangaroo mother care also. This KMC is also now playing a big role, and there also we have done a lot of work and lot of innovations, we must say that. But I
ma'am,
am restricting it to, and even during my presidency also, I had happened to mention about this. But that time we had not visualized it will go to this scale. Right from the breastfeeding practices, I will start. We used to have a special uh, points written in the discharge case note itself, that this child has had colostrum, this child did not have any prelactial feeds, this child mother knows the technique of breastfeeding well, she is continuing exclusive breastfeeding, and she has been told about the follow. These points were specifically mentioned. Then we had lactation management support clinics. Then we had special lactation rounds. Now these are all now forgotten, are not done to the level we would desire. It should be taken up higher to the course. Why I'm saying is, for so many years we are talking about breastfeeding, but still you see the national figures. Early initiation is barely 40 to 42%. Exclusive breastfeeding is 60 to 60%. And I am not at all happy with this. Instead of saying what we have achieved, now we should be saying what we have yet to achieve and how we are going about that. And when we talk about early initiation of breastfeeding, again, a simple intervention like immediate skin to skin contact on mother's chest, it should be promoted universally. It is again not promoted that. Even in the statements coming from the higher authorities, sometimes these are missed. This is just a few things I'm saying. Then another approach we want is rational drug therapy. We have been talking about it, but when it comes to implementation, there is a lot of scope. This antibiotic stewardship we have been talking about it since 72, 73. At that time, we had only 2 or 3 antibiotics available to us. But as the more and more antibiotics started coming, people started using them left and right, and we could not justify all the use and all the times. Of course, there are limited justifications, but that rational approach somewhere we fail. So that is another thing. So not only in antibiotics, even simple vitamin therapy, use and misuse of vitamins we had conducted a national workshop on that. Like that, we can go on. So, rational drug therapy, we want minimum investigations, we want specifically, we have to weigh the balance between what it's going to make the change. Research purpose is a different thing, day to day clinical activity is different thing. Then perinatal audits have to be taken up very seriously. Follow up, we have to, only it is happening in few centers. See, developmental early intervention centers, government has even given the thing, but how many they have been formed? And how many of us from the academic institutions are taking interest in this? So these academic institutions take the lead in these, go beyond your academics. Means from the institutions, go out and develop this thing. So these are all the visions I have. And of course, in promoting community newborn care also, it is not somebody else's work. It is our work. It's our baby. So we have to do that, take some interest. Naturally, we cannot give more time, but at least mentorship of these SNCUs we can do, we can guide them, we can adapt them, something we can do. Of course, we have the answer that overwork is here, understaffing here, we can time. But if you identify the need, you will find out the time. So that is what I see. So my vision is there should be a good communication between academic centers and the peripheral centers. Handholding should be there. Rational drug therapy should be there. Rational approach for the diagnostic procedures also should be there. And we are writing down, but somehow in implication we are failing. So there should be a lot of scope for improvement. And ultimately, of course, we are making progress, but we have the capacity to make even further progress much faster. This is a slower pace as far as. Yes, NNF, if it continues with the same tempo and same zest and maintaining the quality, it will reach the number one leadership in India.
Great.
That is what I am saying.
Yes,
As far as newborn care is concerned, it will reach the number, and it has got some, but somewhere it gets a little faltering here or there. We should be able to identify. Most of us, we know where we are going to, but we should continue with that strong leadership, and politicizing should be much less. That is very frankly I'm saying. But our single aim should be to improve newborn care. Newborn care automatically includes perinatal care. Perinatal care automatically includes link with our mothers, link with our pediatrician. So it's a comprehensive approach. So with that, if you go, there is no such individual silos formed. Okay, we are in newborn care. We are together as a healthcare team. That is how it should come up. That
Great.
is what I feel. With the community and the facility and even the remote areas also, it should come up that way. Only going with the intensive care, advanced care, it's not going to help. We have to look into the full spectrum.
Yes.
Start with your breastfeeding also, hand washing also, and not only in your institution, otherwise also parent education also, public education also, policymakers convention, all the areas should be covered.
Phoenix. Enabling life.